smells like Volvo gravy. What's up guys, it's Drifts and Lifts here. Alright, so today's episode we got a bit of Volvo gravy for you. As you can all see, I have purchased yet another Volvo 740, so I don't know what number this is. We're in the 60s, we're in 66 I think is the count now. So it is a Volvo 740 Turbo. I'm going to show you guys this real quick, but before I do that, I have a couple parts companies to shout out right now. So this is our friends at Max Peeting Rods. They sent me this intercooler to do a little review on. So I'm not going to put it in my car because I already have a potentially better intercooler in there that costs a lot more money, mind you. But this thing is actually, it's basically your typical China Bay intercooler. I'm just basically shouting out the company because they sent me this. Max Peeting Rods is dope. Like as far as China Bay companies go, they're pretty good. They're really cheap. So for parts like this, intercoolers, you can't really go wrong on them. It's a pretty simple design. It's not like you can mess up an intercooler. So these intercoolers, I don't know exactly what they are on the site, but they're super cheap. And they actually gave me a code to give you guys, so that is right here, the code. If you guys want to head over to the Max Peeting Rods site, which the link is in the description of this video, there's a code, and if you guys want to get anything, they sell tons of random stuff, intercoolers, turbos, a lot of just random bolt-on parts for a really good price. I mean, obviously, potentially the quality may not be as high as some other companies that you're paying quadruple the amount for. But it's going to do the job and it's going to get you ripping for cheap. So, alright, so before we check out my new car here, I just wanted to show you guys this intercooler as well. So, I got this from my good friends at IPD. This is actually a DO88 intercooler. It's from a Swedish company. So, as far as, if we're comparing it to that eBay intercooler from Max Peeting Rods, this one is better. It's much more expensive, mind you. So this thing is probably quadruple the price, if not more, than the eBay intercooler. But the cool thing about this thing, it's a really nice intercooler, and it drops right in the factory location for a 740 turbo. They also make ones for 940 turbos, which is dope. But this is it's a much better intercooler than the factory one. It's almost like triple the thickness. I've heard that the end tanks are designed a little bit differently to flow better and that kind of stuff, so it's worked pretty good in my car. I've definitely enjoyed it. Anyways guys, check out IPD's site. The link to their site is in the description of this video. They did not give me a code to use to give you guys, but check out their stuff. They've been a big supporter of the Volvo community for a long time. These guys have been making parts for Volvos for a long time. Since the 60s, I want to say, or something, the 70s, early 70s, something like that. Anyways, guys, so let's check out this car. All right, so it is a 1986 Volvo 740 Turbo. His name is Peter because the guy who I bought it off of was named Peter. So in typical Drifts and Lifts fashion, we named the car after the previous owner. So it is a 1986, and as you guys, some of you guys know, the 86s have their problems. It was one of the first model years of the 740. As they went along, they improved them in certain ways. So this is one of the oldies. So this has got a couple of the issues that the old cars will have, but it hasn't taken it off the road yet. The thing still does run and drive, and it's actually pretty clean, mind you. So let's take a little walk around of this car. So if we go into the interior, interior isn't too bad. It's got the black cloth, so the typical turbo interior that most of these cars came with the checker turbo cloth. So interior is actually not too bad. Like the dash is pretty cracked up. This car's got fairly high kilometers, 403,000 kilometers. So it's up there. Peter said he owned it since I want to say 95 or 97. So he had the car for a long time. He did, it was his family car for the longest time. So it was well cared for. He did do the maintenance stuff that he had to do at the time. He'd kind of upkeep it as he went. So as far as rust goes on this car, if you guys know, the 85 to 87 740s were not zinc coated, so they're a lot more prone to rust, and if you leave them in a field, they will literally rot the floor out. This car is actually an 88, so it is zinc coated, but this one got left in a field and it is just disgusting. So you don't even want to look under this car. It's like a bunch of poo stains. Luckily, this car named Peter here survived the rust for the most part. It's got a little bit of surface rust on areas on the paint, a little bit in the battery tray, Actually, I should say a lot, because it's definitely got some holes in the battery tray. That's pretty common though. I see that often. Like this one's got holes in the battery tray. I guess the acidity of the battery and maybe it leaking out over time. I don't know why the battery tray is always so rusty, but there's definitely like some chemical reason for that. All right, so looking under the hood here, guys, typical 1986 motor. It's got the old school Garrett turbo on it, so it's also got the external recirculation blow-off valve. If you guys, well, here, I'll quickly just show you over here. You know, if you're new to Volvos and that kind of thing, like I know a lot of you guys that watch my channel aren't actually Volvo guys and you're kind of just getting into drifting, maybe thinking of getting a Volvo yourself, which by the way, I'm going to be doing right after this a video on what to look for when buying a 740. I know that's much overdue. A lot of you guys are trying to find these cars yourselves and you want to know all the different things to look for when it comes to picking one of these up used off a guy. So if you look here, this is the stock turbo on like a newer gen, like 1990 motor. This motor is actually a 94, but they had the same turbos all the way from 90. So this is a 13C. If you look, the recirculation blow-off valve is built into the turbo, whereas on these cars in the 80s when they had the Garrett turbos, these were external from the turbo. So you could delete that and run it completely, no blow-off valve if you wanted to, make the choo-choo sounds. Kind of however you want to do it. Looking under here, it's, you know, it has some age on it, and I'm going to start it up in a little bit here for you guys, and it definitely has some piston slaps. So that's one thing I noticed when I first kind of started the car up. A lot of the vacuum lines are really gross on this. Oh my gosh, like this vacuum line is literally falling apart in my hand. Like that's not good. So a lot of the vacuum lines are like this. I see the one to the boost gauge right here is actually completely severed, so it's not really exactly reading proper boost. That's going to cause some vacuum leaks. Definitely you don't want that. So a quick thing I'm going to do before I get this car ready for sale, which by the way guys, I am going to be selling this car, so I don't think I'm going to keep it. There's no really point. I got it for a pretty good price of $500. I'm going to fix a couple things up on it, replace all the vacuum lines, get it running really good, and take the, I don't know, maybe do an exhaust on it or something. I don't know. I'm going to take the catalytic converter out of it and sell that for money. Probably just run it open downpipe for the next buyer, because generally it's going to be some like kid that wants to get into drifting. I know you Swedish guys are probably cringing right now. You're like, this car is a classic. It's an old school 1986, you know, Volvo 740 turbo intercooler that has survived the test of time and is still actually on the road. So let's start this car up. We can kind of see what it runs like. One thing I did notice is it starts really fast, so it's almost like my Cummins. When I turn the key, the thing starts instantly. Let's see if you guys can hear that. So that sound that you're hearing, that knocking sound, is just piston slap. It's not a big deal because once this motor warms up, it actually goes away once the tolerances like kind of tighten up from the heat. But overall, I think this motor actually still has life in it, and someone can throw a boost controller on it and still make some power with it and, you know, get it sideways and have some fun. So definitely a couple vacuum leaks that are making this thing run a little bit weird though, so we're gonna deal with that at a later date. So I crawled under this car when I was picking it up, and as far as the floor goes, it's pretty much rust free, which is really nice to know. This has the Decker panel, I think it's called. So if you guys see this little thing in between the two taillights, it's an option or maybe a Volvo aftermarket accessory part that they used to sell. Kind of cool. I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like personally, if I had a sedan that I was building, I probably wouldn't put a Decker panel on it, but they look kind of cool. I don't know. It's kind of, you know, it's up to the individual person. Style and styling of a car and all these different things is always just an opinion. That's what people got to remember, is that everybody's building their car to their own, you know, ways. Some people will make fun of how other people build their cars, but at the end of the day, everything is just an opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, right? So anyways, it looks like the wasps are already starting to, oh Jesus, oh buddy. All right, so if you look over here, a little bit more surface rust, kind of crusting off. I don't know why. It's like picking a scab. Like, yeah. The car came with brand new tires, and it has the turbo rims, so these tires are in really good shape. So even that alone was like, you know, for what Peter sold me the car for, I'm sure he paid pretty close to that for the tires at least. So that's why there's a lot of value in these cars, right? People upkeep them, they put a lot of money into them, and then it comes to the point where they don't want them anymore, and they're just like, the car's just an old 80s box of Swedish metal, and it's not really worth much to people, so they generally sell them for pretty cheap. Depends on who you're buying it from, though. If you're buying it from like original owners and people that are older and that kind of thing, you'll get a better deal. But if you're buying it from a young dude, young dudes, I've said this before, always want to get max dollar for their shit. So they're going to be like trying to gouge the price, and that's generally not who you want to buy the car from. If you see a young dude with his Volvo for a way too high price, thinking he's going to get gold from the thing, just make fun of him or something. I don't know. Just do that. Anyways, guys, so I would like to say that I'm gonna build this car or keep it, but I'm not. I think the plan is to freshen it up and just make a little bit of money off it and send it back out into the community. So hopefully I'll choose a buyer that I can that isn't gonna destroy the car. Like, it's okay to destroy a car like this because it is so rotted, so rusty. It's also okay to destroy a car like this because it is a 1990 model. And it's a non-turbo, so it's really like not a sought-after 740. There's a lot of these around. So Miss Huff was a good car to make into something like this because it's not like a collector one. But now the 740 turbo intercooler is almost gonna quickly start becoming a collector car here, in my opinion. So we don't wanna destroy these ones. These are the good ones. If they're already rusted out, that's fine, we will destroy them. But if they have life left in them and they're actually still pretty clean, in my opinion, I think nowadays, guys, we should start trying to keep these ones clean, like the, you know, the really nice 80s 740s that are still kind of rust free. We should be trying to preserve them because we want to be able to drive these beautiful bricks like till we're, you know, like I'm 25 now, so I want to be able to drive this car till I'm like 70 or something. If I could be 70 years old when like New World Order happens and like, I don't know, there's no fuel and everybody drives electrical cars, I want to be the guy that has like an old 740 tucked away in some location, just kind of to reminisce about the past, and maybe go for like a spirited rip around the block when fuel costs like $20 per liter or something, because it's only like rich people can afford it for their hobbies. I don't know. It's gonna be something like that. But anyways, guys, so that's pretty much a wrap up of the video. I just really wanted to show you my new Volvo purchase. If you're local to me, Chilliwack, BC, Canada, and you know you might want to be looking into getting a 740. I'm gonna be selling this one eventually after I tweak it up and fix a few things on it, get it running really good. I'm not gonna send it off into the wild and try to make profit off it without kind of tinkering it a bit and making it a better car. It's so annoying when people just buy cars for essentially what they were worth and then put them up for what they're not worth to try to make money on it. I don't know. If you're gonna like try to make money on a car, at least like tinker it up a little bit and like fix a few things on it or something. But hey, to each their own. Anyway, so that's pretty much a wrap up of the video. Make sure to check out Max Peating Rods. The discount code is right here, and the link to their site is in the description of this video. Also check out IPD as well. They got, you know, tons of cool stuff on there, and yeah, support companies that support Volvo enthusiasts. Like and subscribe for grass-fed Volvo beef. Peace out.